trigger warning, hinted suicidal thoughts. Hey, welcome back to Selene's vlog. I keep playing with the angles here, don't mind me. So today we're gonna watch the third episode of Artiswitch. I'm going to react live and then I'll review the episode. If you did not see my first reviews of the first episodes, go to the link over here or down in the description to watch the playlist from the beginning. I remind you that I react while watching, so this means there might be spoilers. If you do not want spoilers and you want just the general review of this episode, go here and let's go. I like these little adornments on his clothing. I don't like his clothing, but the ribbon and the roses, I like them. I think they try to make him original. But, I mean, he certainly is original, but they're making a point here.
Nani?
Not that I like his designs, but I sympathize with the hobby. I generally say that I think people perceive me kinda the way he is introduced here, although I hope I'm not that much of a snob. Okay, that's a scene you don't see often.
安くするとかさ。
ごちゃごちゃうっせえな。
え？
She's so nice.
まあこれ以上話してもあれですね。もっと奥。
At least I know she's not only harassing women.
覗いてみない？
うわ。あ、もうなんだ。
The toilet scenes here are really something.
よ。待ってこれどうしたらいいの？
いってらっしゃいませ。
She really doesn't like him. I mean, next to the other guests, though, like, she really brought him down. Are the toilets his thing or hers? Not sure I get it. Very 2020.
Ah, そっか。俺、そもそも最初から積んでたわ。
I don't get it, like, his lesson here is that he needs to... Oh, that was a public toilet. Oh boy, that was a little intensive. This episode we begin with Akihiro, who judges all the people around him without stop. He's really busy building a brand of his own image, and by his clothes, it looks like he's trying to stick out as much as possible. From his judgmental thoughts, we understand that he's scared to look as though he copied from someone else, as he recognizes the origin for every clothing item that people around him wear. And of course, judges them for copying those. He's drawing clothing designs, and they all look really weird, just like his own clothing. And it seems like the most important thing about these designs is to look the way regular clothes don't look. The designs don't seem, at least to me, comfortable, flattering, even like harmonious color-wise, and that might be just my own judgment, but I feel that the creators are trying to show us that he's really, really trying to like get out of line and not make it regular fashion, to like break as many rules as possible. He's running away from people that turn to him, which might be a hint that he doesn't want to hear what other people say. And he arrives at Nina's store through a back door in an alley, like all the other heroes. Now, as opposed to his predecessor, he's not interested in a jewel that he would want to wear or makeup, because he's already like very out there with the way he looks. He's interested in a pair of scissors, which is a hint that he wants to create. His friend, at the beginning of this episode, was wondering whether he ever made anything, like whether he'd sewn anything. And we understand from that he aspires to be a fashion designer, but never actually designed fashion. Nina meets him when she leaves the toilet, which is a very strong symbol that's going to repeat itself all throughout this episode. As opposed to what we will see with Akihiro, she doesn't even blink. She leaves the toilet really comfortably. She's greeting him. Now, he right away starts criticizing her store, and in return, she criticizes his looks. She emphasizes how much he's trying to be so unique that it shows how ununique he is. He's sucked into looking into himself through a toilet while Nina is flushing him down. His standoffish clothes are pulled off of him, and he's left with white clothes, seemingly normal, but I feel like they were mostly trying to emphasize that it's like empty. He sees critiques written all around him like neon signs. These critiques are probably his own fears about how everyone else perceives him and his looks, his behavior. It's not very clear whether anyone else ever told him that. It seems like it's not the case. But it's very similar to the criticism that he himself keeps thinking about other people. And we understand that actually he's just very fearful that other people see him and think of him just the way that he sees them and thinks about them. His biggest fear is to be seen as unoriginal. And it's probably from that fear that his designs are flowing. And except for being very bizarre, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of content in them that connects them into like a creation. He's cutting the critiques with the scissors, which now turn to his sword, and those turn this way into his answer, his inner beliefs. He gets confidence from the fight, and he's filled with paint, which is spilled on him from the words he's cutting, kind of like their gore. And that symbolizes the inspiration, the artistic inspiration he's receiving, and also the character and inner strength that's being built in him, and arises from him handling the criticism. Now, this whole episode, the criticism is only inside his head, like, other than Nina's criticism, so it seems like he never dealt with criticism, and that is his fear. He lands in a fashion show where flashes of cameras are appearing, and he's sitting on a toilet, again, and behind him we see a wall made from colorful toilet papers. It's a very strong symbolism of his embarrassment from his own designs and the fear that they are just as it seems crappy designs. The colorful ink from the critiques he was fighting in the previous scene makes him even look a little bit clownish. He's tossing toilet papers to the crowd and they cheer. And then he tells his designs to march into the catwalk and the crowd is laughing. We can understand from this his perception that people like what he sees as absurd, which is the toilet paper, but laugh at his designs, which he worked very hard on, as though it's a comedy show. We see the audience sitting on toilets themselves with their pants down, but everybody is laughing and enjoying the show, and only Akihiro, who is fully dressed, is looking at them angsty and offended. It shows the absurdness of his own perception. It's as though, like, he's the only one that knows what's right and fashionable, as opposed to the audience, which are like these herd of sheep that copy everybody, and they should be ashamed of themselves for that. After all, we see them with their pants down, but in reality, they all accept each other and laugh as one, and they only don't accept him, or rather accept him as a joke and not as a serious creator. His designs carry him on their shoulders, which is a sign that they love him, and possibly a sign that he loves them and is really proud of them. But the audience keeps laughing and even stomp their feet while they're laughing. And in the background we see the toilets that they sit on. The crowd is throwing toilet papers back at him and basically ties him up with them. But he cuts these papers with Nina's scissors, and it seems like he's getting out of there in a victory. But right after that, he's aiming the scissors to his own throat, which shows that he's really not that confident in himself and his own sense of fashion, and that people's criticism, even though he sees them as ridiculous, hurts him very much, to the point that he loses the will to live. We see splashes of paint, which hint that in the dream he ended it, but right away he is waking up in the toilet, which is in the alleyway, just surrounded by people's writings on the walls. After he leaves, we see him starting to sew clothing, in the after school hours, and then he's showing these clothing to his friends. Actually, for the first time, he's asking for a critique instead of critiquing other people. We don't see the clothing. We only see his expressions and his friends' expressions, and that emphasizes how much the design itself is not important in this story. What's important is the social situation, his approach towards people, and his fears from them. He's fighting his own fear that his friends will laugh at him, but they seem actually impressed. They do tell him to cut down the lace, but he actually thinks that the lace is important for the design. They don't understand him, but they don't continue mocking him. They instead compliment him for the embroidery. This way we actually see that he's whole with the criticism, and he's even standing his ground. Although his friends clearly did not understand the role of the lace in his clothing, it's very clear to him, and he does not want to take it out of the design. And actually, we see that he decided not in a negative way, to add something just because it's original and have not been done before, but because it's something that has importance within the design itself. Now to the general review. This episode has shown us a story with a similar message to the previous ones, but it is a bit different. Also, the execution is a lot more interesting. We see a lot more abstract and symbolism, at least in my opinion, than we saw before. Here too, the episode is about aspects of visibility within society, self-perception, perception of other people, that is experienced by the main hero. We see into his heart and understand his feelings thanks to these strong symbols, which I feel are much stronger than in the previous episode. I do feel better about this show after the third episode. However, it still is very similar to the previous ones in many ways. Right now, I do raise my rating for this show to 6.5. Okay, thanks for watching. Comment your opinion down below. Like if you liked me. Subscribe to see the rest of the episodes. And share it with friends who might like the show. I'll see you in the next one.